Welcome to the Watch of Famous People list. In this video, we'll be discussing watches of very influential people in the world. Now, you may or may not agree with them politically or their point of view of what they've done in life, but there's no denying that they are very influential people. So first off on our list is Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, Dr. Anthony Fauci is the expert in infectious disease for the United States. You may or may not agree with his expert advice, but he definitely has a huge influence on millions of people in the United States. I mean, this guy contradicts President Trump. That's pretty influential, and he's still not fired. So that's impressive. So Dr. Fauci is a huge Timex fan. He's been wearing it for decades, and there's photos of him going back almost 30 years of him wearing one. He currently sports a Timex Classic 30, which retails for around $40. I mean, it kind of makes sense because this guy does run every single day, and the Timex Classic 30 has a counter to keep up to 30 laps. Next on our list is Bill Gates. Now, Bill Gates is the founder of Microsoft. The guy has jumped anywhere from the richest man in the world to the second to the third, so he's in the top 3 richest man in the world. He is a billionaire. Recently, since he left Microsoft and kind of gave up that gig, he has a non-charity fund, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which comes up with try to vaccines and things like that. So definitely very influential, especially being one of the richest men in the world. His watch of choice, and he's been filmed wearing multiple times, is the Casio Duro for $70. And that's the price of it at Walmart. So, I mean, it speaks a lot that the first two guys wear watches that they chose based on what works for them. And that's the beauty of watches, right? It personalizes what you want. And the third person on our list is no exception. So third person on our list, influential, is Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. So he's been filmed a lot. There's pictures of him wearing a classic Seiko watch. Now, one of the reasons he likes this watch is the simplicity of the design, and that kind of makes sense with his style, right? Apple and everything, the products have been designed to be sleek and simplistic and kind of beautiful in the minimalist design. And this minimalist design has kind of started a revolution in when it comes to tech and electronic products, right? Everything has become sleeker and nicer and thinner and more minimalist. And that's a huge influence on design in general, right? And you could always argue whether it's him or Johnny Ive that came with design, but they both definitely have input on it. So the Seiko that he's wearing a lot is reference 6431-6030, and it's quite a cheap watch back then. You could buy the reissue one, which is now called the Nano Universe, for $180, if you could find one, because it is a limited edition and only sold in Japan. The actual watch that he wore sold at an auction for $42,000 in 2016. So stepping away from the billionaires on our list, our next influential person is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is an action hero star. He made a lot of movies. All his movies are high-grossing, big-budgeted movie. Not only that, he has millions and millions of followers on Instagram, so which makes him very influential. The Rock is a big watch guy, literally, because he's a big dude. He has been seen with AP, IWC, but mostly with Panerai. And that makes sense, since most Panerais are very big, which is good, proportion for his wrist size. Now, next on our list is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now, you can't deny this guy's influence because he was a huge part in the civil rights movement in the United States. I mean, he changed the culture. He championed peaceful protesting. He's been photographed wearing a Rolex Datejust on a Jubilee bracelet, as seen in this picture. So the next 3 on our list may not be as influential as the people that were on our list before, but they had made huge impact to the watch community, especially to the brand that they represent. Now, these watches became famous because of these guys, and you'll find out why. So first on our list is Paul Newman, who is famously always shown with the Rolex Daytona. Now, he made the Daytona famous. There's actually the Rolex Daytona he's wearing is actually nicknamed the Paul Newman Daytona. That's how famous it is. And they actually sold the actual watch that he wore recently, and it sold for a whopping $17.8 million. Right? So that's his watch, but if you want the Paul Newman Daytona itself, and you can find one, it's gonna go for 6 figures easily. Next on our list is Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen is your essential cool guy back in the days. He was the manly man driving cars, doing all these films and movies. And he's been filmed, and many times, wearing the tag Heuer Monica in one of his racing movies, and that made that watch famous. And everyone knows, the tag Monaco is basically synonymous with Steve McQueen. And then next on our list, our final person on the list, is Buzz Aldrin, the United States astronaut who was the first man to step on the moon. And this goes without saying, he wore the Omega Speedmaster Professional. Everyone knows what that watch is, right? Omega and Speedmaster are famous just because of him. Now you could argue, the Seamaster is good as well, but there's no denying that the flagship of the Omega brand, based on popularity, is the Speedmaster. Interesting thing about his watches, no one knows where it is. So the actual Speedmaster he wore on the moon is lost, and it can't be found. So if someone did find it and there was an auction for it, would it go more than the Rolex Daytona? I think it would. How many watches have actually been on the moon? That is it for us, guys, and thank you if you stay all the way to the end. If you do like this video, please click on the like button. It has really helped with the YouTube algorithm and help make this channel more famous and popular, and in return there will be more videos. So please subscribe also if you want to see future videos from us. Thank you very much. Is this